Oh, how I love that music. We're all dressed in black today.
In our Nudelberg Daily Huddle shirts.
Huddle. So great. I was talking to Jake about this. So great to see other people mention the Huddle. Incredible. Joy Linsky was talking about her day, and she said, Sherry Cedar, Huddler. Great Huddler, so we are a
community, man. It is a community.
We are a community. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Debbie Hammer. Welcome, Mary Kay Wilson, to the party. Good to see you. New names, new faces.
I gotta give a shout out to Michael Ficara, though, who might have the consistency award over the last few weeks. He's just been steady Eddie. In here every day. Good morning. Great engagements and comments. Great stuff.
Did we get asked to do his podcast?
We did. We have to schedule a time for that.
Let's make that happen, Mr. And any guy with an MF, that's his initials.
And of course, good morning to Nick Mao. Looking forward to being with you and the CCIM group today at 11:30. Excited to talk about modernizing the business development process and all that goes into that.
So today, we normally write the show the night before. We plant seeds. We have places to go and things that we think are relevant to you. Today, there's so much other shit happening. I'm going to go off script. First things first. Yesterday's conversation about LinkedIn was great. I had a lot of follow-up with people who want to learn more, want to understand it. And then late last night, I get one of these. I wanted to introduce myself in a way that would show that I'm interesting. Unfortunately, nothing came to mind.
Back to the tagline. I don't even care what you say to me in the message now. The fact that you put, we generate more leads for your sales team. I know why you're reaching out to me. And if you're leading with that transaction, if it's in your tagline and it's in your message, I'm not hanging out with you because I'm not about transactions.
Yeah, it becomes that obvious, I see you coming.
Right.
Regardless of what you said.
No thanks.
Which in the old days, it was fun. You get in an elevator and somebody, what do you do? I'm in the insurance business. And you're look down and don't make eye contact, So great stuff there. We are going to talk about Jalen Hurts when we come out of music, wake up music, because the guy continues to deliver as the top of the heap quality human being.
Ultimate mindset of anybody on the planet.
And just so consistent. But in your life, you have these moments that you have to memorialize. Jake is sitting there last night and he yells to me, he goes, "Hey." I go, "What?" He goes, "My friend just texted me from a plane. And he said, the person next to me is reading your dad's book."
Yeah, I wonder who it was. That was the thing. I really wanted to figure out who it was, but that's awesome.
Just incredible. So a proud moment, obviously. But he tried to take a picture, and the lady wouldn't let him take a picture.
Yeah, he said he failed at it.
Anyway, great stuff. And then finally, before we jump into the real stuff, do you know, because I asked Jake this, do you know who Raquel Welch is?
Of course. I know who Raquel Welch is. I know her face. Well, do I really know what she did? No. I know she was good looking, and I know she did posters. Right. This is, if you were to say Raquel Welch, that's the image I have of her.
Right. So she was the precursor to Farrah Fawcett. She was that poster that all the young guys had, and she was the sex symbol of Hollywood. She did a movie called Fantastic Voyage where they shrunk these people and shot them into a body, which for that time was crazy. So unfortunately she passed. I wanted to pay.
What movie was that? What James Bond movie was that? Moonraker?
Good
that's
question.
a great trivia question.
Wow. You would stump me on that. But
I'm a James Bond guy, so that looks like Moonraker.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of good stuff coming up. Shay, wake this thing up because we got a Power for Thursday coming your way. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen. What you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more back to thinking. Time to thinking ahead. Come on.
Still the best intro in the game. I don't care what anybody says.
Lou
as good as Cheers.
He's the solid comment guy.
The baby boomer goddess.
She was so beautiful. It was great. So I want to give this over to you. You used LinkedIn this morning in a really positive way to share to your audience what this human being is and how he conducts himself. It's amazing.
He said 1,000 things after the game that you could take away, but I thought the number one thing he said was you either win or you learn. And I think, replacing that L word of lose with learn is so important. And, failure is in the title of my book. It's something that I learned to deal with pretty consistently throughout my career. And that was always the thing that got me through. Whatever the devastating loss was, whether it was, NC State on a Thursday night or Clemson in Death Valley, whatever it was, it didn't matter. When that thing happened, the thing that always got me through it was going back and learning what we did wrong. Let's look at it. Let's evaluate it. Let's figure out really what went wrong and learn from it to apply it and move forward. And there's far too many people that don't do that because they point the finger of blame. They play the excuse game. And he could have said, oh, well, if I didn't drop that ball and fumble that ball, it's a completely different game. Or he could have pointed to the officials and said, if they don't call that holding call, we get the ball back. I get an opportunity to go win it. He didn't play that game. Look, we lost. And because we lost, I get the opportunity to learn. And that's the way it is.
So, Shay, I wasn't sure if you were able to grab the video because it wasn't audible. If you have the video, I want you to pay attention to this young man who was on the biggest stage of all at 24 years old. Think of yourself, Mark, think of you at 24. I know me at 24, I had a bong the size of Montana.
For me at 24, I was in my second year at Florida State, and it was grind time. It is when I was learning these lessons. Shay, do you have the video?
Show me. Go.
What is one lesson that you learned from this game that you'll take on to the next?
Man, I think you want to cherish these moments. You want to cherish these moments with the people that you've come so far with. Your family, your loved ones, your teammates, your peers, everyone that you do it with and do it for. And I'm so proud of this team. I will say I'm so proud of this team for everything that we've been able to overcome. Obviously, we had a big-time goal in the end that we wanted to accomplish, and we came up short. And I think the beautiful part about it is everyone experiences different pains. Everyone experiences different agonies of life, but you decide if you want to learn from it. You decide if you want to use that to be a teachable moment, and I know what I'll do. So.
Okay, thanks everyone.
It's just he embodies everything that you want. And when you look at the trajectory of his career starting at Alabama, he had to deal with adversity and getting hurt, not playing well in a big stage, having Tua come in and throw a game-winning touchdown, and then have real conversations with Nick Saban about, I know what my goal is. What's the best way for me to get there? and working with Nick Saban on where the best place to transfer was, and getting to Oklahoma and overcoming all of the negativity and doubt for him to be able to be successful, to be where he's at. I don't think there's any doubt that he gets back to another Super Bowl at some point in his career, and that he goes on to be one of the best quarterbacks during this era of football.
So Casey hits it on the head. That franchise has a leader, somebody you can follow. The things that come to mind for me from his speech, from number one, poise. The poise that he exhibited about listening to the question, which, by the way, that was a Down syndrome child that they allowed to ask that question, which, there's so many things that the NFL does right. That's one of them. I think it was fantastic. But, when you hear what he says, he recognizes the people that got him there. Nobody does it alone. So my family, my loved ones, my teammates, he said that everybody experiences pain differently. Yep. That is absolutely brilliant. And then it's a choice. Yep. It is a choice on how you receive all the things that happen in your life. And listen, I still talk to people who say, 10 years ago, if I had gotten that deal, I would have gotten promoted and I would have, It's over, move on. He already moved on. He already found a place for it. So his emotion, and the guy's 24, which is completely mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. I mean, and good morning to Carlton. Great to see you here this morning. He talks about the way he conducts himself as candid, yet balanced. That is his brand. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. And that's because he's dedicated to the process, right? Like when he talks about really savoring those moments and enjoying the moments, he's dealing with the loss, right? The opportunity to win a Super Bowl that he did not capitalize on. And there's plenty that he's feeling as far as the way he let himself and the team down. But he understands the magnitude of that moment and how far they got. He's not allowing that moment to rob him of that joy, yet still understanding how to feel that pain and know that there's just lessons to be learned here, and that it's just the start of what he's capable to do after.
So, Mark, you're a locker room guy. Do you want to play for a guy like that?
Yeah, you want to play for a guy like that. You want to play with a guy like that. You want to coach a guy like that. I mean, and I'm going to give a shout out to Carlton. I love coaching Carlton because Carlton is that guy that's committed to getting 1% better. And there's no better coaching relationship than somebody who comes in hungry to get better and is looking to just constantly add not 7,000 new things, but one thing every session. And that kind of progress and that kind of work, there's nothing better than that. So whether you're coaching, playing with them, playing for them, it doesn't matter. Just being around those kinds of people are what you want to do.
Fantastic. So I picked some motivational music today, which sticks to this, is that when you're operating at that level, right, good things happen. When your mind is set, good things.
If you want to run away with me, I know a galaxy and I can take you for a ride. I had a premonition that we fell into a rhythm where the music don't stop for life. Glitter in the sky, glitter in my eyes, shining just the way you like. If you're feeling like you need a little bit of company, you met me at the perfect time. You want me, I want you, baby. My sugar boo, I'm levitating. The Milky Way, we're renegading. Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You, moonlight. You're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me.
I'm levitating. I love it.
So I got a question for you, because this is what I think, life is all about. When you see somebody who's levitating, when they're
when you're around some. I mean, that to me is that. So I had this conversation with the people at JA when I talked about the art of presenting. And I said, look, let's not mistake the fact that like your brand and the way you appear matters. Your haircut, your face, your teeth, your clothes, everything says something to everybody. But the number one equalizer is your energy. Right. You could show up in rags and have your hair messy and your face a mess. And if you led with energy, you're going to have the opportunity to overcome that. And so that to me is having, and I think Joe Mullings calls them like lightning rod hires or something like that, which to me, the concept of a lightning rod where they attract that energy, that to me is exactly what those kind of people are. They're lightning rods.
So we believe in process. You know, I wrote a book about it. You wrote a book about it. It's all mindset and a series of behaviors. I pulled this article, which was 17 micro habits for an astonishingly great 2023. There's all kinds of these kind of hack lists and stuff like that. I found this one to be really dialed in. I don't know if you got a chance to look at it, but it's pretty strong.
Yeah, it was spot on. I thought, well, it was very validating. Number one, I was like, oh, this is all the stuff that we work on and talk about. It's the stuff that we're doing. And so it was very reaffirming and validating of all of the stuff that we talk about on a daily basis.
I'm going to do the top 5.
I love it.
Stop worrying about things you can't control. Control the controllables.
Yeah, I mean,
drink more water. We are human beings that need to be hydrated. Good things happen to your mind and your body when you are hydrated. It's not bullshit. It's easy. 3, don't check messages upon waking up. So this is one I challenge because I do, and it works for me. To me, it's a spark to stimulate thoughts. I like watch some reels or, what you watch or what messages.
Yeah, what you consume when you wake up, right? Like if you're waking up to like internal work emails, probably not the best way to start your day. If you're waking up to Seth Godin's newsletter from this morning, you got an absolute jolt of energy and challenging yourself to think differently. So I would agree with you that you don't necessarily have to not wake up to messages, but you need to be choosing the right messages to wake up to.
Awesome. Number 4, we talk about this all the time. This is the way they put it. Work in blocks of time that you've carved out on a written weekly schedule. Strategic time blocking is what works. Tim Rappold, who I've been working with, who just didn't get this concept, has now put 3 15-minute breaks in his day, not going back to back. And he said, man, it's working. And I go, it's not an if.
Right.
It's not an if. Because I'm not making this shit up. This is what works. And if you stack those kind of habits together.
Well, so I think people get caught up in that concept of trying to figure out their to-do list and getting their to-do list inside of their calendar, which can be really difficult, really tedious, and hard to do consistently. If you understand priorities and you get priorities on your calendar in blocks, and then you're able to look at those priorities and say, what activities, what off of my to-do list needs to go into those priority blocks, it becomes a little bit easier for people to manage.
Yeah, so I actually call it a to-don't list because it lives way out here on a yellow piece of paper. For me, whatever is important enough to you, schedule it.
Yep.
And I'll give you a perfect example. You introduced me to Keegan, the chiropractor. It was not on my calendar. It's on my to-do list.
Right.
And it's not
done. Right. I gotta have a plumber to come replace the drain in the guest bathroom. You know how long that's been on my to-do list?
Put it on the calendar and it gets done. So that was the top 5, 6 through 10. Use positive words to speak to yourself. We speak to each other, to ourselves, worse than we would ever allow anybody to speak to us. Exercise first thing in the morning. This is, the fuel that starts. Don't read the news. Don't watch the news. If the world ends, you will know. I promise. Unplug your TV. And in this, they got funny. They go, okay.
Throw it away.
What?
Which I did, again, and I disagree with that. Like, to me, my TV is my personal time. That's where Gabby and I watch something good. We're watching a show on Netflix, Farah, which is it's actually a Jewish show. It's
Israeli.
It's Israeli show. It's in Hebrew. And so we're watching it with all subtitles, and it's fantastic. It's a great show. 30 to 40 minutes each episode. But like, to me, I get enjoyment out of that. So I cannot throw my TV away.
These next coming up are fantastic. Use music as a productivity and mood enricher. It's what it is, man. Think about this. We all have a favorite song. If I asked anybody, I've never talked to somebody who said, I don't have a favorite song. Whatever that song is, when you put it on, boom.
So the 5-minute journal, not that this is a plug for the 5-minute journal, but their weekly challenge this week was, what's a song that changes your mood and makes you move? Listen to it one time every day this week. Well, so it had a little blank.
What is the challenge? Where does this come from?
You got to look at the top of the page. Oh. So at the top of the page, there's always a quote or there's a challenge.
I must have missed that one.
Wow. Yeah, on Monday. I think it was Monday's challenge or Sunday's challenge for the week. And so, and it's hard because when they ask you that question to like pull immediately. So I went with Rock With You from Michael Jackson. Right. And it just doesn't matter when it comes on. Immediate mood shift, immediately make you want to move, and it changes the way you feel.
So, I in the last week I was presenting a couple of times. I presented stuff in my book, and one of the songs that I put in the presentation is Happy. Right. If you put on the song Happy, it is impossible not to be happy
because it's in my head. I'm already just bopping.
Singing and dancing. It's an amazing anthem for showing up the way you want to show up. And it's that simple. Just turn it on, and in a couple of notes, you get what you want. This could be the biggest one, and I love this one, is avoid people who make you feel bad. And that could be anybody. Anybody. If they don't make you feel good, if they don't add to your mood, if they are not, like Jake said it this morning, if they don't serve you in a way, get rid of them. And that's
in your own life, they're energy vampires. In the term of your team, they're locker room cancers. So you have to find a way to get rid of them.
So the final one, there's a whole bunch of them, but the final one that I want to talk about is, and this is really controversial, take more naps. So if you had told my dad or my grandfather, hey, I'm gonna go in the back, I'm gonna take a nap, he goes,
get your shit out.
There's no way. But it is proven, and in our office, the number one suggestion in the suggestion box was to build a napatorium.
Right.
You go to Orange Theory's office in Boca, which is fantastic. They have a place where people can go and take 15 minutes, not a half hour, not 30, 10 to 15 minutes of shutting the world out. And that's not scrolling and doing all that shit.
Yeah, there's tons of research to back up that practice and to back up that thing. And I think what we have to, the shift or the leap, if you read Seth Godin's newsletter this morning, the leap that you have to make in your mind is understanding that as technology has evolved, the 9 to 5 working in a factory mentality and working is not real. It's not a real thing. It's not really what works inside of this world. So you really have to understand, what do I need to do? When do I need to do that? And all of the rest of the time, figure out how to serve yourself best.
I love it. And if you don't, if you have friends that are not watching this show, hopefully today is a perfect example of why we focus on getting better 1% every day. For those who are in the market, please come out and support Mark today. Nick Mao and his group have, it's called CCIM. We'll be there to support you. We're bringing books. We're bringing all kinds of stuff. And then tomorrow, Andy Cagnetta will be here. Andy is the coolest human being, just a really humble dude who has given and given and given. And in return, I think he's one of the most respected entrepreneurs I know. He has 250 franchises around the world. And if you asked him to give you a hand moving, he would.
I cannot wait to have him in the Huddle Hot
Seat. Do not miss. Invite your friends. Tomorrow is a day you want to know the roadmap that Andy Cagnetta took and how great he is. So with that, we say, let's get down to business. We'll see you tomorrow.
Let's go.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. Friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business.